Get up. Leave now. Don't trust the man next to you. That was the message glowing on the screen of my phone right there in the middle of a perfect dinner. Candlelight, flickering wine, poured to the rim, soft jazz in the background. It looked like a scene out of a romantic movie. And me, I was sitting in a velvet booth at one of the nicest restaurants downtown wearing a dress I'd saved for months to buy, smiling across the table at the man who up until that very second I thought might be my future. His name was Adrian Cross. Sharp suit, calm voice. Everything about him screamed confidence. He was cutting into his steak with surgical precision when my phone buzzed. I slid it into my lap, hiding the screen from his view. The words felt like they were burning through my skin. Leave now. Don't trust him. Tonight is the night. It was signed by someone I hadn't spoken to in years, my cousin Rochelle. The same cousin who swore she never wanted to see me again after the family split over my grandmother's will. My chest tightened. Why now? Why her? And why did those words feel heavier than anything I'd ever read? I set the phone face down, forcing my lips into a polite smile while Adrian went on about some new property he had just acquired. Every word sounded smooth, rehearsed, almost too polished. My head nodded, but inside my mind was running circles. Do I stand up, excuse myself, and run? Or do I stay, risk being paranoid, and maybe ruin something that, on the surface, looked like love? The waiter filled my glass again. I thanked him softly, just to buy a second to breathe. I reminded myself Adrian was always perceptive. He noticed if I shifted my tone, if my mood dropped even slightly. If Rochelle was wrong, one false move tonight could destroy this relationship. But if she was right, staying might cost me a whole lot more than that. So I played it cool. I pretended to scroll through my calendar, then quickly called Rochelle, whispering into the phone. You disappeared for 5 years and now you're warning me about him. Why should I believe you? Her voice was rushed, panicked wind whipping in the background. Because 2 women before you didn't listen. And now they've got nothing. No homes. No money. No way to speak for themselves. The line cut before I could ask more. I swallowed hard, placed the phone back on the table, and when Adrian looked up with that faint smile, the kind that felt half genuine, half calculating, I took the bite of steak he offered, chewing like nothing was wrong. But in my mind, I was already cataloging every detail. His cufflinks, his measured tone, the way his eyes never lingered too long in one place. Later that night, I made an excuse about signing a last-minute contract and slipped away to the address Rochelle had sent. It led me to a crumbling brick building downtown. Inside, she sat at a table littered with folders. She didn't even say hello, just shoved a manila envelope across to me. Inside were photos. Adrian with other women in other cities smiling, holding them close like he once held me. Receipts, bank transfers, new IDs with his picture but different names. First one was a marketing executive. Rochelle said, her tone sharp. Second was a philanthropist. Both gutted. Both erased. I flipped through page after page, each one worse than the last. My hands shook, but I didn't let her see. I asked why she was telling me now. She admitted she'd tracked him for months, saw him in a news photo with me, and realized she couldn't stay silent. The truth hit me like a stone. The man I was sitting across from at dinner wasn't who he said he was, but confronting him outright, that would only drive him underground. I needed more. Proof that would hold. Allies I could trust. That's when I called Janelle. She was a private investigator I'd once used in a corporate case. Sharp as glass, no nonsense. She didn't hesitate. She built a team around me. Marcus, the quiet cyber expert, who could track anyone with a signal. Serena, undercover talent, so smooth she could slide into any circle. Elijah, former financial crimes investigator, the guy who could spot fraud just by glancing at numbers. We laid out a plan, bait Adrian with a fake investment deal. Every move he made, we'd track. Every dollar he tried to move, we'd trace. My role: keep smiling, keep playing the perfect partner, and let him think he was the one pulling strings. The game began with a chance meeting. Serena bumped into Adrian in a co-working lobby, sleek in a charcoal blazer, pretending she was just a mutual acquaintance, curious about real estate. He leaned in almost instantly, asking the right questions, probing for money. She left just enough bait for him to circle back through me. Marcus sat in a dim apartment, his laptop glowing with Adrian's every click. The man tore through the investor portal like a kid in a candy shop, downloading forecasts, scrutinizing property documents, saving files we had planted. Elijah, meanwhile, uncovered the truth behind Adrian's finances, short-term accounts, under aliases, funds, slipping into offshore entities, everything wrapped in layers of deniability. I kept up the act. Coffee dates where I laughed at his jokes, dinners where I touched his hand across the table, moments that made my stomach twist because every smile I gave was a mask. He thought he was charming me. In reality, I was studying him like a hawk. But Adrian wasn't just smart, he was dangerous. One afternoon over whiskey at a private club, he leaned close and said, "Funny thing, I always know when someone's trying to play me." Then he slid a folder across the table. Inside were photos of me, Serena, even Elijah. He had been watching us as closely as we'd been watching him. My pulse froze, but I smiled, flipping the folder shut. In business, I told him calmly, smart people vet their partners. He laughed, cold, humorless, and murmured, "Only one hunter walks away." That night, I showed the team. The air in Janelle's office went heavy, suspicion spilling across the table. How had he gotten those shots? Marcus's face went pale when he found the back door someone had fed Adrian access. Then, as if the universe wanted to twist the knife, my phone buzzed. A bank statement tied not just to Adrian, but to Rochelle. My cousin, the one who started it all. Had she been playing me, or was Adrian planting seeds to fracture us? I didn't tell the team. Not yet. I couldn't. We moved forward with the final trap, a staged investor signing in a penthouse suite. Elijah as the lead investor. Serena as the distraction. Marcus tracing from the shadows. Me waiting in the next room, ready to step in if things snapped. Adrian arrived like a king. He shook Elijah's hand too long, scanned every exit, then sat with that faint smile curling his lips. As Elijah slid the contract across, Marcus whispered in my earpiece, "He's pinging an external device. Someone outside is feeding him live." And then the name popped up, Rochelle. She was parked 2 blocks away, laptop glowing in her car. My heart sank. Inside, Adrian picked up the pen signed with theatrical flourish, then leaned back. "It's fascinating," he said, voice cutting through the air, "watching you all work so hard. For nothing." He tapped his phone and the screen lit up with security footage of me and Rochelle meeting, framed to look like collusion. I walked in, then heels clicking against marble, and met his gaze. "You know what that shows," I said evenly, "that you've been spying illegally. And guess what? That's evidence." Elijah pressed him with numbers. Serena slid logs across the table. Marcus pushed data straight to law enforcement. Adrian's smirk faltered for the first time. By the time the agent stormed in, cuffing him, his eyes burned into mine, resentment mixed with something disturbingly close to respect. The trial was swift, guilty on all counts. The cameras flashed as they dragged him in chains. The crowd cheered justice, but me, I just felt tired. Because when I went home that night, there was still the drive I'd found in Rochelle's storage unit. files, photos, and in one video, Adrian talking to her, planning, even mentioning a partner overseas, ready to finish what we started. And the morning after the verdict, my phone rang with a blocked number. A woman's voice whispered, "You don't know me, but I knew him, and he's not the only one." Click. So here I am staring at a city that looks the same on the outside, but feels completely different now. I survived Adrian. I outplayed him. But deep down, I know the story isn't finished. The question is, when the next mask falls, will I be ready? And now I want to ask you, if it were you at that dinner table, would you have trusted the warning? Do you think justice was served, or is the game still being played? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe because trust me, this isn't the end.